guys, today I want to talk about my top 10 books of 2015. Woo! I actually didn't have to cut out any books this year. At the end of 2015, I had the perfect amount of books, which is 10 books. I'm not doing like top 15 as I did the last years. I always do top 10 because I don't know otherwise where I'm going to end up. Like, I don't want to do top 20 of 2020. As always, it is ranked, so it goes from least to like most amazing, but all of these got 5 stars. Though this year I do have to say that only 3 of these books made it into my like all-time favorite books. But yeah, let's get started. My number 10 of the year 2015 is Geek Girl by Holly Smale. I really enjoyed this book. It's just a really fun book. It was a lot more than I had expected. I thought that it would just be that, like just a fun geeky book, but the main character Harriet is just so unique and so special and so nice, and it was just a really fun and interesting and geeky and nerdy and romancy book, and I wasn't expecting to feel as many things as I felt, and really love this one and would definitely recommend it. My number 9 is The Selection by Kiera Cass. I just always say it's a royalty, The Bachelor, and since I love the show The Bachelor, I was very much looking forward to reading this book, and I was not disappointed. I really loved The Selection. It's obviously mostly about the romance, and if you are just looking for that, I can highly recommend this one. People say it is a dystopian series because it plays in like a society in a few years where obviously like there is a king and a queen again, and they have to marry their son to a random person in a TV show, so that's kind of dystopian. But except for that, it doesn't really have any like dystopian world building, so if you're expecting that, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you're looking for a really like nice romance story which is like angsty and love triangle-y, definitely recommend it. You just have to know what you're getting into. My number 8 is Lola and the Boy Next Door by Stephanie Perkins. This is the second book in the Anna and the French Kiss companion trilogy, and I definitely loved Lola most of all of these. Loved the book most, loved the character most, loved the love interest most. Yeah, but all in all, really loved the trilogy. Read like all 3 books in 48 hours or something. I was really into them and I couldn't stop reading them. But Lola was definitely my favorite, I think. And I always feel weird saying that because I know there's lots of people out there who really don't like Lola, but I actually felt like I could relate to Lola the most. I don't know, I just really fell in love with Lola pretty early on in the book. Just it was really fantastic. Reading all 3 of these books was just a really great experience that I had this year. My number 7 is Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, and honestly it doesn't really surprise me that this made my top books. I do think that some of these things in the book were kind of predictable, but in the end, like, it still absolutely blew me away. There was still like twists, like even if I thought I had it all figured out, there was still another twist that made me go like, what the fuck? And it was just the total brain fuck. This book was insanely good. It's basically a book about a woman going missing and nobody knows what happens, but everything leads to the husband. It's from the perspective of the husband, and he says he hasn't done it, and you don't really know what's true and what's not. You're not sure if like he's a reliable narrator or if he's just talking shit. At the end of it, you're just like, whoa. So highly recommended. Really good book. My number 6 is The One by Kiera Cass. This is the 3rd and originally the final book in the Selection trilogy, but now it has gotten more books. Yeah, obviously love this even more than the Selection. It just kind of, you know, we kind of got to the point in this one, and I just really enjoyed that. It got heavier on the romance. Of course, this book and the whole trilogy is extremely obvious. Yeah, we know what's going to happen, but that didn't take away any of my enjoyment with reading this series. It's so enjoyable, so much fun, such a like really angsty and lovely romance. Just absolutely, totally, 100% my thing. My number 5 is Ready Player One by Ernst Cline. Another one that is definitely not a surprise to me. I was really sure that I would love this book quite a lot. It did not quite make it into my favorites of all time, though that probably will happen once I reread it. There's so many things to explore in this. It's such a unique concept and world, cool characters. Like, I described this book as perfect, and I'm still thinking that. I think this book is perfect. It just didn't make it like farther up in my list because the other books just had more like emotional attachment for me, but this book is absolutely perfect. I just think everyone should have read this book. I kind of really hope that this is going to be like a modern classic because it's so good. My number 4 is another one that is not really a surprise to me, probably not to you as well, and I would have been seriously sad if the author wouldn't have made it to my top list this year, and that is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This is the first book in a new series by Victoria Schwab, a fantasy adult series. It's another one that didn't quite make it to my all-time favorites, but I do think that this will probably come with reading the sequels and the other books in the trilogy or series, whatever. But this was a really good first book, and it started out so well, and I just absolutely loved the world building as always, absolutely loved the characters as always. Victoria Schwab just absolutely knows what she's doing. Oh, and I just spilled tea. Whew, well, it's nice and warm. But yeah, she knows what she's doing and she does it really well. I love this one a lot, but I can't wait to see more in this series and in this world because I think it's going to be even more amazing, and I'm pretty sure that the second book in this trilogy is going to make next year's favorite list. So now we're on to my top 3, and all of these books made it to my favorites of all time, so you can already like guess that it's pretty close between these 3 books. They are all so very different, so it's obviously kind of hard to compare them and to say like this one was better than the other. But for now, I do feel like this is kind of my top 3 of the year. My number 3 is an absolute surprise. Like, I never thought that this book would made it on this list. And that is actually The Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien. And I listened to this as an audiobook. I actually listened to the German translation because I really love the German narrator. And oh my god, I loved it so much. Like, I think it's a really complicated and just really nerdy thing. You have to be like a total Lord of the Rings nerd. But since Lord of the Rings is one of my favorite things in the whole world, and I have not only seen the movies but also listened to the audiobooks of the books like last year, I believe, I needed more, and this book just absolutely delivered. It's basically like a history book for like Middle Earth. Obviously, especially in the beginning, there's a lot of complicated names and just so many people and you can't remember them all. Especially listening to it, you obviously don't have like a thing where you can look up names, but still, enjoyed it so much, enjoyed listening to it quite a lot. And at the end we got to like more of the story of like our main characters from the Lord of the Rings. That obviously made me quite happy. Never thought it would make it here because it is like a history book, and history was one of my like most hated subjects at school, but apparently when it's about Middle Earth I really enjoy it. So I know that this is a book that will stick with me for a really long time and that I probably will reread quite a lot in my lifetime. My number 2 is probably only my number 2 because it is the first book in a series, whereas my number 1 is a standalone, but I cannot wait to read more of it. And that is not a surprise to you if you have been following my videos this year. It is The Witch Hunter by Virginia Baker. This is the first book in a YA fantasy, I believe, trilogy, and I absolutely fell in love with it. It was a very simple story, like it was nothing like crazy, but it was a really nice fantasy concept, really cool characters, and I just really fell in love with the world and just with the whole concept, and I cannot wait to see where this is going. Basically, the story has just only begun. Like, there's so much more to explore, and I can't wait. And my number 1, another pretty obvious one if you have been here this year, it is Never Never by Brianna Schrum. I do say it like that. Maybe it's Shroom. I have no idea, but I don't know. Anyway, Never Never is a Peter Pan retelling from the point of view of Hook, and it's kind of a prequel because it does deal with how Hook came to Neverland and the beginnings of it all. I don't know what to tell you, like this book was so amazing, so much more than I had expected it would be. It was very heavy on the romance side, which made this book absolutely perfect for me. I loved it so much. I cried like 3 times or something. This book really left me speechless. Like, I was just but this book was really just so good. I never expected that I would love it that much. Like, I had really high expectations because I think Captain Hook is such an amazing character that I really want to know more about, and I love all kinds of retellings and things that have to do with Peter Pan and especially with Hook. So yeah, I went into it with incredibly high expectations, and I never thought that it would like crush all of these expectations and just be this amazing, seriously crazy, beautiful book that it was. If retelling with Hook and romance sounds good to you, pick it up right the fuck now. It's just so amazing. This is another one that will stick with me for a really long time, that I will probably reread several times in my life. So these were my top 10 books of 2015. I tried to keep it as short as possible. I hope I can like edit it to like a decent amount of time. It is my third time doing this, so that's really exciting. Overall, 2015 has been a really, really great reading year for me. And I think in the end I read like 67 books this year, which is 12 books over my original Goodreads goal. So yeah, it's been just really nice, really exciting, and I can't wait to see what 2016 holds. I have big plans for this year, but we'll talk about that another time, maybe. Definitely let me know if you have a number one book of 2015. You should definitely let me know in the comments. If you can't get it down to one book, then just tell me like your top 3 or even top 5, like whatever you feel like. Just tell me about your reading year. I'm very excited to read it. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye!